the minutes, the public notice, legal notice.
Please insert the following legal ad in the Sound on Thursday, October 23rd, 2025, and Thursday, October 30th, 2025. Legal notice, North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission. Notice is hereby given that the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, November 6, 2025, at the North Branford Town Hall, 909 Foxen Road, North Branford, Connecticut, to consider the following. A, application number 2025-9, re-subdivision of property on West Pond Road to create 5 residential lots with frontage access on Glenwood Road. Owner applicant, BC Investment Properties LLC, Bruno Sacone. At this hearing, all interested persons may appear and be heard, and written communication will be received. Copies of proposals are on file for public inspection in the Town Hall Planning Department. Robert Nowak, Chairman.
Thank you, Barry. Before I begin with the applicant describing her project, I'd like to go through a little purpose of the meeting is to hear pertinent testimony of those in support of and in opposition to the application before the commission. Public hearing will be opened, testimony will be heard in the following order. Applicant explaining their application, project, and proposal. Staff and commission ask questions or comments on the application. General public will have an opportunity to speak in support of and opposition to the application in the form of statements or questions. Applicant have an opportunity to respond to public comment and provide closing statements if necessary. Staff and commission will again have an opportunity to comment. When all sides have spoken, the public hearing will be closed and no further public discussion will be entertained. Excuse me. After the public hearing is closed, the commission will vote on the application. Some of the rules for public testimony: when addressing the commission, please speak into the microphone, state your name and address for the record. All comments should be addressed to the commission, not the applicant, be relevant to the application, and should not be of a personal nature. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Once your time has expired, please be respectful of the commission and other members of the public who would like to speak. Please avoid repetitive comments. With that being said, I'll turn it over to the applicant if you'd like to come up and state your name and address and tell us all about what's going on.
Okay, good evening. Is it on? You can hear me okay? My name is Annette Ellis. I'm a professional engineer with Julian Associates in Wallingford. I'm here representing BC Investment Properties, LLC, and this application is for a 5-lot subdivision on 30.9 acres. It's in an R80 zone. The property has access on West Pond Road and at the end of Glenwood Road. There are about 9.94 acres of wetlands on the property. It's depicted in the green on the map. I realize this is a public hearing. If anybody wants to come up and look at the map who can't see it, I'm perfectly fine with that. So there's one area of wetlands disturbance. It's for the combined driveway to lots 1 and 2. We're creating an easement over lot 2 in favor of lot 1 to only have only one wetlands crossing. At this crossing, we have a 3-foot wide by 2-foot high open bottom box culvert, and it's 36 feet long. It's got riprap aprons at the inlet and the outlet, and it does pass the 100-year 24-hour storm. The wetlands approved this on September 24th. Now, similar to lots 1 and 2, we also have lots 4 and 5 sharing a driveway. We're creating an easement over lot 4 in favor of lot 5. And this doesn't involve a wetlands crossing, but we combined the driveways to basically reduce disturbance and to cut down on the impervious surface. Lot 3 has its own driveway, but it is relatively short in comparison. We are reserving one parcel for open space. It's 3.9 acres. It has access on Glenwood Road. It's 10% of the total property, and it also abuts the North Branford Land Conservation Trust, which is nice. The 5 proposed lots range in total area from 2.5 acres to 9.06 acres. All of them have more than 80,000 square feet not counting any wetlands area, although the wetlands can count for up to 25% of the minimum lot area, but they're big enough where we didn't even need to consider that. The lots are oversized because we are limited to only having 5 proposed lots. Section 316 of the subdivision regulations indicates that the maximum number of lots having sole access to a residential cul-de-sac is 12. There are 7 existing lots having sole access to Glenwood Road between Wilderness Drive and the dead end. Therefore, we can only propose 5 here for a total of 12. Each lot is proposed to have an underground detention system to account for the roof runoff. The runoff from the lots 1 and 2 combined driveway, it flows to a grass swale along the northeast side of the driveway, which promotes infiltration and filtering before reaching the on-site wetlands. Much of the runoff from the Lot 4-5 driveway will overland flow and dissipate without ever leaving the site. As for the Lot 3 driveway, as I mentioned, it's relatively short in comparison. For the cul-de-sac, we're adding about 5,500 square feet of impervious surface. There are 2 catch basins, existing catch basins, on either side of Glenwood Road in the vicinity of address number 62. The existing cul-de-sac flows to these catch basins, and the proposed cul-de-sac is graded to flow in the same direction and into these structures. The 5 lots will be served by well and septic. We did complete soil testing with East Shore District Health Department, and all the soil test data is in the plan set. Throughout the project, we're providing silt fence downslope of all the disturbances, straw bales backing the silt fence near upland review areas. We have our construction entrances on the driveways, stockpile areas. I am in receipt of the town engineer's comments. There were only 4. We're working on addressing them. One of them was a road plan and profile, which I did most of today, but I haven't officially submitted that yet. It's in the displays if anyone's interested in seeing it. But again, there were only 4 comments, and we're working on addressing those. That's all I have to present at this time. If anyone has any questions, or if you want to hear from the public.
Do you have a response to the police department's letter to you folks dated October 23rd?
I don't have that.
Okay, I'll read it in if you want me to.
Please.
I've received, this is from Chief James Lovelace, dated October 23rd. I received PZC application 2025-9 regarding the proposed addition of 5 residential lots. After reviewing the materials, I would like to offer the following. 1, cul-de-sac design. For any proposed cul-de-sac, a requested design and construction accommodate a school bus or a similar sized vehicle to enter and exit without the need to back up. The North Branford Board of Education maintains a policy prohibiting school buses from reversing, and this design consideration would ensure compliance and enhance overall safety. 2, shared driveways. The police department routinely responds to neighbor disputes related to shared driveways. These complaints often involve issues regarding rights of access, perceived property ownership, and have at times escalated into physical altercations or other criminal matters. If the design can be modified to minimize or avoid shared driveways, it would be appreciated. While such arrangements may comply with the zoning code, this recommendation is based on a consistent history of problems associated with similar configurations elsewhere in town. For developments, property identification. For developments with shared or extended driveways, it is important that individual residences be clearly and visibly identified. We request that the placement and visibility of address numbers be evaluated to ensure emergency responders can quickly locate properties, particularly during low light conditions. Accurate and visible numbering assists dispatchers and responding personnel during time-sensitive emergencies, including medical, fire, or criminal incidents. I appreciate the Commission's time and consideration of these comments. The concerns outlined above are not objections to the project, but recommendations intended to promote public safety and support the delivery of timely emergency services to the Glenwood Road area.
Thank you, Dave. Commission have any questions, comments?
And the fire marshal's comments are similar to the police in that they talk more about the driveway width and turning radius shall be maintained for fire apparatus. The plan lists a 25-foot driveway easement but does not list paved roadway width. 2, housing numbering to be consistent with zoning regulations and to be properly displayed. 3, during construction, emergency access must be maintained. And then John O'Brien, the fire marshal, followed that up when I questioned how wide the driveway should actually be, that 12 feet would be adequate.
It is shown on the plans as 12 feet.
Is it?
Yes.
Is that our standard, Dave, for a shared driveway is 12 feet?
We don't have a standard.
We don't have a standard. Okay.
So, I mean, my only, to address one of the concerns I might have, the shared driveway, our emergency vehicle that they needed to go to, these are long driveways. If our emergency vehicles needed to go down the long driveway, would they fit on a 12?
John was quite adamant that 12 feet would be fine.
Oh, okay.
That's not wide enough for 2 cars to pass one another, right? Is that wide enough for 2 cars to pass each other?
No, it's a pretty standard width for shared driveways in other towns. I have seen where they have required maybe like a pull-off area, just gravel, like an extra 6 feet along the side in various intervals or in certain areas. And that's if, you know, you're going to pass 2 cars. I mean, we certainly could provide one of those areas if the commission would like.
Yeah, the orientation of the map is, my right is 1 and 2 and 4, 5,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That's a long driveway right there for those 2.
3, and then 4, 5.
Yeah, 1 and 2, that's a long driveway on the other side of the, both of them. How long are the driveways anyway?
They're about 800 feet.
800 feet, thank you.
Yeah, but we could, like I said, we'd be perfectly willing to provide some gravel pull-off areas in the event that 2 cars are passing at the same time.
Right, good. It would be kind of hard to communicate with one another who's coming and who's going at any particular time. Especially you can't see that far down the road with the topography, the trees and everything else. I think it would be a good idea to put something in there
Sure.
to allow them to do that. If you didn't, they'd have to back up,
We don't want that.
right? I mean, the topography is very tight with the cuts and fills as you go up and down, so that would be great, thank you.
Sure.
I have a question relative to, in your statement of use, your calculations for the box culvert. The 3 feet wide by 2 feet high, pass up to a 100-year storm. I understand it's private property, but I don't want the town of North Branford to be able to have to maintain it at any given point in time over the course of the next 50 years. So I think we're going to add something in there relative to anything, I don't know what wording should be installed or on the plan, at least on the plans. So sometime in the future, if someone were to look back, there wouldn't be anything that the town of North Branford would be responsible to maintain, fix, or pay for in any way. So,
I could certainly add a note to the plans, if that would
Okay.
help, saying that the maintenance is with the private homeowners.
Okay, that would be great if you could do that. Was there anything else, Dave, that I missed as far as comment from anybody else? That was just an email from the fire department, right?
Correct.
Okay. Fire, police, engineering.
And you're working, what happens to the existing cul-de-sac going forward?
It's, the right-of-way is interesting because it is a straight right-of-way. It doesn't have the bulb on it, the actual street line, but there is pavement in the shape of a cul-de-sac. That generally, the excess pavement does get removed. We would like to remove it. Part of it is on private property. The cul-de-sac we would be creating would have the standard street line with the circle around the cul-de-sac.
Right.
So, it'd be corrected, it would be better. Again, you typically remove that excess pavement of the cul-de-sac you're removing. I don't believe there's a house on that property, but it is private property.
The paved portion
The
of the
paved portion.
existing cul-de-sac?
If you can see right here, there's a small dashed line. This solid line is the street line, but this is actually the pavement. I'm not sure why it was built that way, but.
So is the road built right to the street line of the town property?
It's built over it. The
Beyond-
existing road, not the proposed road.
Beyond it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. Because I always thought our right-of-way was 50 feet, and the road's usually narrower, so there's a 10-foot buffer around, but that doesn't exist on this property, on this road.
Because of the circle at the end with the cul-de-sac, and usually the street line is also a bigger circle around that paved area. For some reason, at the end of Glenwood, it's not. It will be if this gets approved, but yeah, it's kind of a strange situation.
So you had stated that there was catch basins. They on the private property as well, or are they on the street line?
Nope, those are further down the street where it's just the straight part of the street, so there's one on either side.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then would you put any drainage in the new cul-de-sac?
It is not proposed, like I said, the houses have underground detention systems to account for the roof runoff. The driveway that goes to lot 1 and 2, which is the longest, that runoff is directed back towards the wetlands. It goes through a swale before it hits the wetlands, so that stays on site. Much of the runoff from the shared driveway to lot 4 and 5, because the lots are so oversized and because of the topography, I do believe that'll infiltrate and dissipate before it leaves our site. It's really just the driveway to lot 3 and then the cul-de-sac at the end. We could provide a couple extra catch basins and direct that water back towards our property. That was kind of one of the town engineer's comments that, we're willing to work with him on.
Right, so once you provide the plan and profile of Glenwood, then that would tie into and
Yes.
kind of make everything work, okay? So the restoration of private property, I'll leave to you folks for engineering and planning to make sure that they do it right and get permissions to get on people's property and restore it properly, right?
Right.
Okay.
Then the engineer did ask if any areas would need to be blasted, and I know we went through this with the wetlands and,
I don't know. We certainly walked the site, we tried our best to work with the topography for the layout of the driveways and the houses and everything. There is some exposed rock, so it's possible. I do believe blasting is allowed. You just have to follow the procedure. I believe it's notifying the fire marshal, going through the fire department. The client, if blasting was required, would certainly comply with whatever he needed to. As far as quantifying the areas of blasting, I don't know that we could do that without doing borings. So I don't have areas marked out, but I'm not sure if it would be required or not. If so, we would follow the protocol.
Is that for foundations and or anything else, Dave? Is that what you're?
for, pretty much for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some significant cuts.
Well, I mean, we're limiting the clearing as much as possible, around the houses and the driveways. But within those areas, there could be some areas that need to be blasted. Again, too, for subdivision approval, the house locations, I imagine, aren't going to change that much with the plot plans because we have already done soil testing and this is where we found the good soils. But, I mean, the houses could potentially move a little bit. So, I mean, even if blasting was required in one location, it's possible someone might want their house somewhere else. So to tell you yes or no, definitely there's going to need blasting, I don't know at this time we could do that.
That's fine. Is there houses on the backside of 1 and 2 that are close?
Close to what?
Close to the proposed location of the houses? At this point in time, obviously, you're not showing the houses of existing. Just take that into consideration when you decide on what kind of excavation you're gonna do for your new homes relative to blasting.
I mean, this map is an 80 scale map, so these house locations are, well over 100 feet away from the property line. I mean, whenever blasting is done, you're required to do a pre-blast survey, which looks at, neighbors' foundations and wells, and so, I mean, that has to be done if blasting is required.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, because that's, in my former life, that's exactly what we used to do. So I'm glad to hear you say that, so that's good. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And are these houses going to be built by the developer, or are the lots going to be sold and built by individuals?
Well, our developer is here, so if he would like to come answer that question, he can. Bruno? I know I told you you weren't going to have to say anything.
How you doing? Good evening. Bruno Chacon, BC Investment Properties. Right now, as of right now, we most likely are going to build the houses out. That's the intent. We don't plan on selling them outright.
Okay.
And the developer, the contractor that I'm working with has his own blasting company, so if we have to do it, we're ready for it.
Gotcha. So Dave, I just have one question. If we do approve the subdivision, the developer has, correct me if I'm wrong, 5 years to finish everything? Is that accurate? For the permit, or does he reapply if for whatever reason, it's taking longer to do?
He can get an extension, yes.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions, Dave?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Commission members have any questions, comments? No? Okay.
David, would you mind forwarding me the police department and fire department comments?
Yes, I thought I sent you the fire plans.
I don't think so. If you did, can you resend them? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to open up the public hearing to those in support of the project. Would anyone like to speak in favor of the project? Anyone to speak in favor of the project? Hearing none, I'll open up to anyone in opposition to the project. Opposition to the project? Please state your name and address for the record.
Rose Angeloni, 67 Glenwood Road. So I'm not totally in opposition to the project, but I'm here speaking on behalf of seeing this map and now hearing how long those driveways are. I'm very concerned about public safety. And I know those were addressed, the police and fire both addressed, but I don't see where they addressed how are the fire trucks, and that's the main thing, how are they going to back out? I mean, how are they going to turn around? Because looking at those driveways, there's no way, I don't see where there's enough turnaround that the fire trucks could turn around to get out. And on an 800-foot driveway, I don't think they're backing up that whole distance at all. So I think that's something that needs to be addressed also in there. And as the homeowner right next to this and building our house, I can tell you that almost 100% sure there is going to be some blasting that is going to happen. We had to blast on our house. The house next to us that was built 4 years ago, they had to blast also. Most of the houses on Glenwood Road that were put in there had some form of blasting done. So I would like to know what those protocols are for blasting, what has to happen, because we would directly be, and we do have wells and we do have septic in that area. So we would definitely be affected by that. Also, the open space that they said is at the end of Glenwood and would be at the end, and it does connect to the land trust area. Would that be open space where people can go to get to the trails that are on the land trust? Because not only do you have North Branford Land Trust right here, but you have Guilford Land Trust right there. And both of the land trusts have done work together so that they have trails that connect to each other. So if the open space, I realize, is right here, are people going to be able to go at the end of the cul-de-sac and access that open space to get back to the property at all? Right now, this has all been open space. The people that owned it prior to selling it to the developer did allow people to come in at the end of Glenwood and go onto the trails. So I don't know if that is still an option with this open space that's here. It is used by dirt bikes and ATVs right now, has been for many, many years. And so is that still going to be an option once it gets developed in there? And just looking at that and where the cul-de-sac is going, the idea of some storm drains up there, because the storm drains that are there now are really much further down the road, and with those really long driveways in there, I'm not so sure that just those that existing on Glenwood are enough. And I know you discussed that before on there. And I'm happy to hear that you are considering having some kind of a turn off or on those driveways, because they are very long. And if you haven't been to that area to see that property, there is going to be very limited sight lines to see on the vehicles coming on those driveways. So that's all I have. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Rose, you walked away, I was coughing. Is there trails behind your house, huh?
Yes.
So they cut through the
They can't, right now they do, because that has been open space here. There is actually this stream right here. There's a trail that goes through here and then connects up
Oh, okay.
to the land trust property here. And there is actually a very detailed trail on this property that's owned by the land trust. There was a trail, a very nice trail, that then this property here goes down to the old trolley tracks on there. So there is access also from the end of Ciro Road onto the trolley track property that runs over here.
So
So
right
there
now-
are trails, because the land trust has a trail on this property here. This is known as the Angeloni Woodland Preserve, and then Notch Hill is down further.
Okay.
And so there are currently trails
So
there.
there isn't a trail right now on that open space as designated on the plans, right? Quote unquote, there's a
Well, there's-
perceived trail of.
Well, if you go, there is definitely a trail that has been formed over the years on the private property from the previous owner, and it's very well defined. You can definitely see the trail, and it actually crosses the stream, the trail that goes in there, and then it connects up to the property. But that part has always been on private property. The previous owner just allowed it to happen. I mean,
Gotcha.
he allowed it to, and it's been there for many years on there. And then this back piece was acquired from the land trust. This was owned by the Boy Scouts, and the Boy Scouts were looking to sell it off, and the land trust bought it a few years ago. So there's a definitely defined trail on this piece of property now that you can get to from that piece of property. But that was always private property, and that was a trail on private property that the previous owner had allowed.
Right, so my point is that there'll be you'd have to create a new trail through the new, the now designated open space to get to.
Yeah, well, it depends on exactly where all of this, how many feet in this is, because it might exist in this spot right now. I'm not sure, I can't tell
Okay.
from this map. But if it did, then yes, there might be the opportunity to, if they had to move the trail, the existing trail, because that existing trail might be on where this driveway is or up in this area, there would be space in here to put a trail so that it can connect, because now that would be private. I mean, it would still be private property, but now it's sellable. You know, they're putting a home in there
Right,
and
right.
stuff.
Okay.
So it's not open. But it is very active right now with dirt bikes and ATVs. It has been for a long time. So it's very visible, the trail.
So the developer's going to have a little issue possibly.
Well, you know, I don't know. I mean, I can tell you, from where they come in, construction, most likely, most of those drivers, you know, ATV, they're still going to go through there unless there's definite barricades that are put up. But they will, everyone knows in town here where ATVs and dirt bikes will continue going wherever they find room.
Right, right.
And it's been known for many, many years that trail has been there.
Okay.
So, you know, there would have to be action taken so that if they didn't want them on their property in that area, that they would see that it's now closed off.
Gotcha, okay,
So,
okay. Thank you, Rose.
yep.
Would anybody else like to speak in opposition to the project? Anyone else like to speak in opposition?
My name is Bonnie Szymanski. I live at 50 West Pond Road. And mine is more questions. The property next to us was originally land that belonged to one of the houses, but things got changed. So what is the plan for that property? Because trees fall down and, you know, what's the plan? The other question I have has to do with the emergency vehicles. If there is a fire, there is no water. The trucks only carry so much water, and there's no water access. So that's the other question I'd like addressed, since I am in a butter, and things move.
Bonnie, could you point on the map your first question about the property and the trees you're talking about, so you can share with the applicant?
So I'm here, the West Pond Road, so it's right here, this property here.
Okay,
That goes up to so I'm here, I'm
Yeah.
Robert
Okay.
Fishbach's wife.
gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Bonnie. Anything else?
No, those are just questions in terms of safety and, you know, trees. Those trees are old, there's lots of ivy growing up them, they're falling down. If it falls in the road, I do believe the town maintains it, but what happens if it, you know, I mean, the ATVs go through there,
Oh, okay.
but it is wet. It is wet when it's new.
Mhm. Great. Thank you, Bonnie.
Those are just questions.
Would anyone else like to speak in favor or against?
My name is Frank Angeloni, 67 Glenwood Road. I brought this up at the wetlands meeting as well. She talked about, I believe I heard her correctly, when she first came up here and said there's 2 exits off the property, one off West Pond and one off Glenwood. And where's the West Pond exit?
I don't think there's a West Pond exit.
Is there?
Frank, there's only,
There was a West Pond exit?
Do you want me to respond now?
Frank up here, but address us.
Yeah.
So on the map, look at the map right there, it only goes on Glenwood. There's no exit onto West Pond. See all the driveways?
I thought I heard her say initially there was an exit in West Pond.
It has frontage on both roads. We are not accessing both roads.
There you go. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'm Robert Fishbach. I'm at 50 West Pond Road. Bonnie's my wife. I just would like a clarification on her question. Bottom line is, who's responsible for that property that is adjacent to our property, which used to be lot number 6 on your map, but it's no longer there?
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay. Would the applicant like to come up and address some of the concerns?
Okay, so, again, the property has access on both of the roads. We are not actually, they have frontage on both the roads. We are not bringing any driveways or roads or anything out to West Pond, just to Glenwood. As for the part of the land they were talking about over here, right here, that is just part of Lot 5. It's a large lot, but it's just part of Lot 5. Nothing is happening on that side of it because we would have to cross a very large portion of wetlands, which we do not have approval for, so that land remains as that land is. It's just part of Lot 5. As for trees falling, I mean, anytime a tree falls, if it falls on your property, it's unfortunately your responsibility. It's the same with the town. If a tree falls in the town right-of-way, it's the town's responsibility to take care of. I do know, only because I was a public works director for many years, if you see a tree in poor condition and you notify your neighbor of that, then you've notified them, and if something happens, then they may have to take some responsibility. But generally, if a tree falls on your property, it is unfortunately your problem. But that part that she was referring to, it's just part of Lot 5. It's just the back portion of Lot 5. As for emergency vehicles, I have to defer to the police department and the fire department. It seems as though we're meeting their requirements. Again, we're perfectly happy to provide some additional area. That'll certainly be helpful with, cars passing. Will it be helpful for the emergency vehicles? Sure, it'll give them some extra width in some various areas, but again, I have to defer to their comments for that. As far as blasting, again, is it likely? I don't know. Sounds like there may be. It sounds like the contractor is prepared for that. The protocols will be followed. They need a permit from the fire marshal. The pre-blast surveys will have to be done. And as far as the open space, there is access to the open space we're providing off of Glenwood. And it does connect to the land trust. I mean, if the land trust is interested in having that property, I don't think that the developer would have an issue with it. Again, it does have access off of the public road. And what was the other comment? Oh, and the storm drainage. I think we did address that, but in the road plan and profile, working with the town engineer, we're absolutely willing to provide a couple more catch basins up closer to that new cul-de-sac. And I think that was all the comments. Yeah. Any other questions?
So the green area are the wetlands,
Yes.
and the open space, can you show us where that is?
Yep. It's this piece right here. So it does have access to Glenwood Road right here, and then it connects to the land trust over there.
So any concerns for Lot 5 would have to be taken up with the owner, obviously, right? With the trees or whatever.
Correct.
Any concerns? As far as the water issue for the emergency vehicles, that would be up to the fire department. Usually bring a tanker. Most locations in town that don't have water on my street either, but they don't put those cisterns in anymore because they rot. So they just bring a tanker. We got 3 fire stations, so I'm sure, I'm not going to speak on their behalf. I'm just sharing with you from my experience of a house fire that happened in our neighborhood not too long ago. So they just basically built a giant pool they built a pool in the cul-de-sac and fill with water and pump it to wherever they need to go.
I do know the town that I live in, they're big on mutual aid. Our town has a tanker truck, and if a fire is big enough, they will go to other towns and assist. I'm sure North Branford probably has a similar agreement. So, I mean, it's no different than any of the other houses that you have now that are on well and septic and don't have water.
Okay. So Dave, I'd like to just go back to the fire department and reiterate the concerns about the emergency vehicles, turn around before she goes ahead and starts doing what she needs to do, at least for the residents, but for the fire truck. We do have long driveways in town, so it's not unheard of, and I don't know where they are and if they're prepared to do that and what they do. So I can't speak to that, but maybe you could educate yourself and share that with the applicant and make the appropriate changes. And if the comments stand with the fire department as is, then they stand as is. And then at least we did our due diligence and you ran it by them one more time, just to make sure. That'd be great if you could do that.
And if they do have the other concerns, I mean, we're perfectly happy to work with them. I mean, nobody wants to compromise public safety, and, we're happy to work with them.
Right. I was wondering if you could go into, or the developer could go into a little bit more detail as far as the blasting.
More detail on the blasting.
Could you just run us through A through Z from start to finish of what you think? So the residents that are surrounding have an idea of exactly what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, how they're going to be notified, and so on and so forth.
Well, I think the first, we're going to first do our infrastructure with the cul-de-sac and make the roadways to the lots, individual lots. And then from there, we'll do an assessment if we need to blast or not. The contractor that I'm working with, he has a whole program. I don't know exactly how he does it, but he has his whole system how he does that.
Gotcha. Now, I understand there's a lot of rock on the property, so I'm assuming the residents could, if you don't blast, the only alternative is with a hoe ram of some sort.
Yes,
If it's not diggable, right? So
That's
there'd be
right.
some associated noise with that, creating the road, digging out the foundation, and if you can't dig with that piece of equipment, you get a blast.
yes,
So at that point in time, I'm assuming the protocols are to do a survey, there's a certain distance from the location to the residence that falls within that pre-survey, pre-blast survey, if I understand it correctly.
Yes.
In my experience. So they would come out and look at your foundation, I'm assuming inside and out, and then they would have a before survey and after survey. Let's see if there's any impact to the foundation from the blasting if you so choose to do that.
correct.
Right?
Yes.
After that, I don't really know what happens if there is a crack or there's an issue with the foundation or the well or so on and so forth. But you are pretty far away from the two closest houses.
Yeah, that's right, we are, I don't know the
Right.
exact distance.
I don't know the exact.
We'd have to check, but
Over
pretty
more
far,
than 100 feet away from the property line.
yeah, more than 100 feet away.
So there's precautionary measures on your behalf that would rest assure the residents at least that you would actually look at their foundations before and after, just to be sure that there's no issue,
Sure, we can do that,
right?
it's not a problem.
Okay,
Yeah.
because basically there's whatever the number of properties are that within that
Yeah.
radius, and it's all by state statute, if I understand it correctly,
Yeah, that's right, and they'll be notified if we have to do that.
right?
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you, sir.
you got it.
Any other questions or concerns? Did that kind of, for the residents here today, did that kind of help out a little bit? Not so much?
Well, it answered questions.
All right, fair enough. Try to do my best. Such a big crowd, you know, so. Dave, any other comments, questions? Commission members?
You know, my concern is the long driveways and seeing the way the fire department, God forbid there's a fire, let's say, in Building 5. And they come in with the Tower 1. So with Tower 1, right behind it has to be a pumper and then a tanker. And it's a narrow driveway.
A lot of turns.
And to say nothing about, we're a volunteer fire department. And, you know, the guys come running and they drive there. So
It's dark. It's gonna be dark.
yes, it's gonna be scary, dark, and things are gonna be in the way, to say nothing about, it breaks off house 4. You know, we're just talking about a rectangle box with a number in it. You know, that could be a 2.5-story house, which they can legally build, and then the onus is on the fire department to, you know, protect me. So, I'd like the fire department to, you know, relook at it and, you know, turning radiuses somewhere between 1 and 2, I don't care whose property it's on. They need to turn the equipment around. If they need another tanker to come to a fire, God forbid, or if it's a 2-alarm, that's, not being a fireman, I don't know, you know, what they need for trucks, but I recently had a chimney fire, so I have seen, you know, although our fire department and our equipment is fantastic, there's a lot of equipment and a lot of manpower. So it's, you know, it looks like the terrain doesn't lend itself to, you know, just let's pull off the side of the driveway.
No.
So that's my big concern.
So Dave, could you add that to the list? Access, again, we have concern about access, and especially.
I can hear that. I will talk to the
Please.
departments and get back to you.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
4 and 5 and 1 and 2. Those are, yeah, if they can just look at it one more time. Maybe make
Yeah.
a statement.
And the other thing is, again, if there's a fire somewhere on 5 in that area, you know, house 4 can't get to their house. I mean, there's no,
Or leave.
I'm sorry,
Or leave.
or leave. It's, I guess there's a lot of safety questions that, you know, in my mind about, you know, on paper it looks very nice, but in reality, I mean, I'm lucky, my property's like a pool table. I had cars and trucks all over the place, but this bottlenecks everything. And that's the key, that's the word I'm looking at. You know, there's gonna be a big bottleneck in that long driveway to rotate equipment, not have the ability to turn it around. Yeah, I'd like to get more, have a relook. That's it for me.
Okay. Any other issues, Barry? Same concern?
That's been my concern since we received these packets. What are the emergency vehicles are gonna do? I mean, if they're saying they have enough room, maybe they can just look at it one more time to be certain, definitely, like he said, like one of those big calls, like what if that house 4 is just, or 5 is just completely ablaze and they need everybody there.
We
That's
do-
what you gotta look at. Yeah.
We do have an 18-foot driveway for shared driveways in the R40 zone for interior lots.
Right.
But that's specific in the regulations to the R40 zone. The R80 zone, with its 25-foot requirement of street frontage, just sort of assumes that they're all rear lots, but they're technically not rear lots because they have the appropriate amount of frontage for the R80 zone. So, again, that's something that maybe we want to look at our regulations and tweak them so that we would require an 18-foot shared driveway wherever it is, rather than just in the R40 zone.
I agree with that statement, 100%.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that.
Well, I looked at the interior lot section, but then determined that they're not interior lots because they have the required frontage.
Yeah, interesting. Right. Okay. So Dave, you'll look into that for us?
Well, I mean,
With the fire department?
what,
With the fire department?
yes.
Okay.
And I guess I'd have another question about the open space. Do we have any determination as to who's going to own that, or how that's getting deeded, or is there an HOA or land trust, or?
Hi, Tim Lee on behalf of the applicant. We don't have a decision yet. We're open to possibilities. It could either be a homeowners association, or if the land trust wants the property, we're happy to talk to the land trust about donating the property to them.
Isn't that supposed to be on the plans, Dave? What you just stated, as far as the disposition of the open space should be identified and put on the plans, is that not correct? That's correct, right?
Yeah, the open space is shown on the plan, and we're happy to convey it to any appropriate entity, whether it be the town of North Branford, whether it be the land trust, or whether it be a homeowners association that can maintain the property.
Okay.
So,
One of the above.
does the commission have a preference?
Well, I can check with the land trust since it's,
Yeah.
some of it's adjoining their property, right?
Yeah, I heard Ms. Angeloni's testimony that it abuts the land trust property, so they may be an appropriate entity to
Right.
transfer the open space to.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. So you work on that with the land trust, so the applicant can figure it all out, put on the plans? Okay.
Another question I had.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm sorry, that's a,
All right.
Use your microphone.
the, Rose Angeloni alluded to a trail to the land trust, and it would go through the open spaces, would require moving the trail.
Well, right now, there's a perceived trail created by ATVs and dirt bikes that potentially go through the open space, lot 3, 4, 5, based on her assessment. I don't know if she's been on
That
an
would be
ATV.
lots 3, 1, and 2.
So,
It's not, 4 and 5 is up in the corner, would be to your left is lots. So the trail that's currently there it's by lots 1 and 2, and then 3 is right at the end of the cul-de-sac. So those are the 3 houses where, and I can't tell from that map exactly where it starts and where the perceived trail is right now, so it's hard to tell where that exactly is. But those would be the 3 houses where the perceived trail is right now, as you call it.
you haven't ridden your dirt bike lately through these drums?
No.
Okay,
No.
I just checking.
I've heard them come through.
So
So
that,
there is no real trail? There is trail on the North Branford Land Trust that ties into the Guilford Land Trust, but there's nothing, quote-unquote,
Because it's private property, it's not a named trail. Because it's on private property.
Maybe I misunderstood, but wasn't the property that was going to be signed over to the town, that connected to the land trust and to the cul-de-sac?
yes.
So does the trail go through the property of, no, does it go through private property 1 or 2? Or
Right
does
now-
it just go
Yes.
circumvent it somehow and get into the
It goes
land
right-
trust?
It goes right through here. It goes like, if they do, it does have access here, and then it comes like
Right.
this. So there's somewhere in here.
Okay, so
So there's.
this is going to be private property, this is private property, and get off my lawn.
Yes.
So we're stopping access to the land trust and hiking trails from that area.
Well, there are trails that exist on private property,
That the prior owner allowed.
allowed,
Yeah.
correct. So once he's out of the picture, now it becomes real private property where someone's gonna live there and maintain it. I don't think anyone's gonna want to drive them ATVs over there.
That's for sure.
I'm sure the developer will find out over time who's driving where and how.
Once their insurance company finds out, and they got to insure the
Oh, yeah.
property.
Look at this nice piece of equipment. Let's play on this. Mhm. So right now, Ron, there isn't a defined access from the new cul-de-sac to the North Branford Land Trust on the open space as called out on the plans.
Okay, the access to the land trust property, this trail, you know, we don't know how long it existed.
It's right here. This is the land trust, this piece. This is.
Oh.
We have no idea where the trail is currently on the
Okay,
map.
So the trail has to be coming here and circumvent property 1
Correct.
to get into the land trust. Okay, it is doable, that's my question. You can have a trail from the town road to the land trust property without going on someone's property and running into legalities of, get off my lawn.
Right.
Yeah, but they're going to do it, it's not there currently. I'm sure they'll find a way to make a trail there, but yeah.
Okay.
The land trust will help.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments, concerns anyone wants to bring up? Going once, going twice, sold? I entertain a motion, commissioners, to close the public hearing.
I think you want to leave it open so you can get the more information from the fire departments. I
Okay.
wouldn't close it.
Yeah, I make a motion to keep the
Yep.
public hearing open to our
Okay.
next meeting.
Fair enough. Thank you, Dave, for that one. Okay.
Second?
Second.
Oh, second, I'm sorry.
All right, second. So public hearing is going to be continued to next meeting, November 20th. Right? Okay. So that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is old business. There is no old business. We have new business, and there isn't really new business. We do have other business. Excuse me. we've been, want to talk about Schedule A first. Schedule A's been revised, October 15th. There's a packet in front of you somewhere. Should say October 15th, looks like this. Right. Looks pretty good, Dave. Double checked it a couple times.
So the latest changes, we went into the actual uses, whether by special permit or site plan, and I updated those in green, and I left the preceding use that was changed in black.
Okay.
Yeah.
The green's kind of hard to see, but
It's on the second page, I think. And then to approve
Oh,
I think you captured everything we've been discussing
in
to
the blue.
date.
I think everything is up to date.
Yep. In an effort to, did you want to talk about anything specific on this, Dave?
Only that I added there's a page there that has definitions of restaurants, since we sort of changed that. So we need to update the actual regulations.
You did a great job condensing. You're a man of few words.
Well, that whole section B was relative to restaurants close to schools.
Yeah. That was put in for,
Right.
yeah.
Dave, what is the minimum distance in 54.4.1? What is that? I have no idea.
I think it's 100 feet from door to door.
Yeah, maybe just put, maybe just put the distance. Is that where you were going, or,
No,
no, okay.
500 feet? I don't remember.
I'd rather it be referenced somewhere else instead of making it over and over and
Like
over and over.
redundant, yeah, okay.
We do have a section in here for it already. 54. 1. There we go. So no liquor outlet shall be located within 500 feet of any church, synagogue, college, school, park, or town-owned playground, except when a state highway separates the liquor outlet from any church, synagogue, so on and so forth. Then required separation distance shall be reduced to 400 feet, with exception that liquor outlets for consumption on premises located less than the required separation distance specified herein may be allowed if they conform to 42.5.16, and special use permit is issued for said use. That was our whole discussion way back when, where we talked about liquor outlets.
Yes.
So basically, we're reducing definition for a restaurant into one paragraph. Restaurant and other food and beverage service establishment shall be established for the retail sale of prepared food to the public for consumption on or off premises.
Yeah.
We eliminated the indoor-outdoor stuff, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
which we didn't understand anyway.
Yeah, so you have B here, 16B. Outdoor seating must be surrounded by safety barriers to protect the customers. This is assuming it's in a parking lot? Oh. Back in the COVID days, I guess.
Or it would be adjacent to a parking lot. I mean, typically, they're close to where automobiles operate.
Think the new Starbucks, like they have the outdoor seating, if that was a restaurant, and they're gonna have the outdoor patio area, it needs to be.
It has a
separated
wall
by
around
sa-
it.
Yeah, it'll have a wall, right?
Oh, is there one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't real, and that would be like a Dunkin' Donut, but yeah, Starbucks has a wall, like probably like a brick wall, or facade, a brick facade. Is that what they presented to us?
Yeah, and it's up higher than the roadway
Yeah,
anyway, so it has a bit of a wall.
yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, another question. When we say safety barrier, for safety barrier, I'm thinking Jersey barriers or something, substantial, but couldn't be one of those yellow
Ballot.
caution tapes. That's our barrier, that, cars don't drive this way.
Well,
I guess we could define it, but it would have to be something like.
Well, you
like
could
the
cer-
Judy's Restaurant, they have the,
Right.
the fence to do their outdoor seating.
I mean, you could just say, subject to approval by the fire marshal and the chief of
Yeah.
police.
Bingo, that works.
All right,
yeah, we're not in the safety business.
Right.
no,
Let
But,
it, leave it up to the professionals.
when you say safety barrier,
Well, wall, then I was thinking of the ballards, those big steel things. You know,
or those ugly
The
things that, so people don't get hit, like when they're crossing the street, there's metal, yeah, they're ugly, yeah, all
they
right.
come up.
Or they've also got like, the bottom half of a whiskey barrel full of plants and
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
That would probably be sufficient.
That's sufficient, yeah.
But that was the other option I had in my mind, was subject to approval by the police and fire department.
I think I like that better. If they approve it, we're out of the book, and then we gotta define or have an idea of what we want it to look like. What's acceptable.
Mhm.
I'm okay with it having this be decided by the police department. So you want to change that, Dave?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else on this one, Dave, on the Schedule A?
No.
So before we get into the other one, I wanted to share with you guys. This is we talked about trying to before we moved it forward with any public hearing, we wanted the public input. So unfortunately, I was a little slow in my response back to Dave on the monthly newsletter the town puts out every month. Town manager posts it on his website. And so I wanted to put something similar to what David put on the web, put this on the website so everyone knows about it.
Mhm.
What do you think about the language? So far, so good? A little tweak from what you had wrote, Dave. What you had sent me originally?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident the way it is. I ran it through my
AI.
my AI nonpartisan wife. She couldn't understand the first one, so I'm like, okay, let me write it so you can understand it. All right. So I gotta,
Oh, this is good.
whether anybody goes there, doesn't matter. but at least we're doing our due diligence. And so the highlighted one, Dave, was if we were to put it out into a public comment, right, we would have to carry an item on the agenda for people to come and talk about, if they were here to talk about it?
Sure.
Because I alluded to having it being either, what was it, in person or written comment. So they have an option to make a comment either way. I don't know where it will go, but at least it'll be out there. Basically, what we want to put into the monthly newsletter reads as such. The Planning and Zoning Commission has been hard at work the last year updating the table of uses Schedule A for the town. We are editing old, obsolete language, as well as changing where and what mechanism uses are allowed. We anticipate holding a public hearing on these changes next year. Excuse me. The commission welcomes all public feedback in person or a written comment. The commission meets at 6:30 on the first and third Thursday of each month. The proposed changes can be found in quick link sections of the planning and zoning at the website. The commission is also at work updating the regulations for our two town districts, town design district located in Northford Center and North Branford Center. These new regulations will incorporate form-based zoning concepts and will only be applicable to these centers. Form-based code addresses the relationship between buildings and the public realm, which refers to spaces that are open and accessible to everyone, such as streets, parks, or public squares. That is where people can interact and exchange with the community. This new code provides clear and concise, illustrative, three-dimensional representations of the form and mass of buildings in relationship to one another, the scale and type of streets and blocks future development should look like in our town centers. In contrast, our zoning regulations focus on segregation of land use types, permissible property uses, and a controlled development density by different zoning districts. They provide simple, numerical, two-dimensional parameters, such as floor area, density, height limits, lot coverage, minimum setbacks, and coverage, and frontages. Our regulations do not provide guidance or holistic view of the relationship between various building types and styles. These new standards will help define a variety of spaces intended for different forms of public gatherings. Our goal in providing form-based zoning regulations to preserve our New England community appeal through specific types of modern features reflective of our farming community. In addition, it provides a vision and guidance for future generations to guarantee the preservation and vitality of our small town culture. To get a better understanding of these regs, we encourage residents to see quick links section of planning and zoning page at the website for more information.
Oh, yeah.
I think that really hits it on the
Oh,
head.
yeah.
Hit all the bullets, right? Okay. Dave, anything else? Want to talk about form-based at all?
The one major change that I made is on
Is it in red, Dave?
yeah,
Yeah. I, page 10.
Did you find it?
Notwithstanding section 42.51,
what page was it on?
10. Page 10, sorry. So the only issue I have, I've been studying this pretty extensively.
The what?
I've been studying this pretty extensively, and I'm not in favor of limiting it to 2.5 stories. I would be in favor of it if it was that for Northford, but if we were gonna do 1599, it should be like 3 stories. you know, because it's also set lower than Route 80, so a 2.5-story building is not really going to give it the effect that it really we're trying to search for $15.99.
So that item on
That was 11.
the notwithstanding section 42.5.1,
Yeah,
that limits the number of units to 6 units per building. So by saying notwithstanding that, we're allowing any number of dwelling units to be in a structure. So it could be 30 or 40 or 20. It all depends on how much parking you have dedicated to the units.
it makes logical sense. It's the reverse thought process. How many parking spaces can you have should equal the number of units, not the other way around.
Correct.
Okay. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Well, we can divide up the, that section J on page 11 so that we have different heights in our 2 different design districts.
Want me to do it?
Yeah, we could do that.
I mean, these numbers are all sort of arbitrary, and we probably should think about what they really look like.
I agree. I've been studying our expert from Northford, Steve Nugent's submission on Northford study, and he was kind of gauging that the height should be taller to allow for, in this particular case, you have a 14-foot minimum commercial floor for the first floor, 10 minimum, and then 12 and 12, right? So the maximum is okay. It's the minimum to get more stories in, right? But when you, because it's measured finished floor to finished floor, right? So floor to floor, right? So when you do that, you take away how much is left. The second floor is a foot, so that leaves 9 feet, a 9-foot ceiling. You know what I mean? Because these taller dimensions allow for taller ceilings in the apartments, because they could be 9 feet, 9-foot ceilings, luxury apartments.
So you want to say 3 stories, and then in that section H, we don't have a height number in there.
No, it's on the next page.
Right.
There's
I'm
36
sorry.
and
Right.
32, which is kind of odd. I was thinking mixed use should be 40.
Forty and 35,
For residential,
yeah.
even that's appropriate for 2.5 stories, according to the analysis by our expert. For 2.5 stories, that's about it, but
So if you made it 3 stories in the North Branford Design District, what would your height be?
40 to 42.
So it would be 3 stories in 42,
Max, right.
and all residential would be 37? Maybe we should look at what we did for the overlay district up on, by the skating rink.
His was 45.
That was 45?
45. We need more conversation about exactly what we need to do with that.
With these heights?
Yeah. Over time. Again, what's it gonna look like?
I'm trying to find somebody who could actually show us what it's gonna look like.
Okay.
I mean, I have some software to do it, but it's like over my head.
Right, right.
All my roof lines are screwy, and I can't quite control it.
And what it would look like from the street. Right.
Yeah, you could actually take the Google streetscape and then throw a building in there.
Okay.
And you put the number of stories on it, and you put windows on it, and
Dormers on it.
Okay. It's a work in progress, Dave.
Yeah.
right.
Sometime next year.
But what was the one number you just said? We said the 45 feet in near the rink, but what did you think for?
For here? I was kind of going off the study that was produced by Steve Nugent. He makes a lot of sense and provides a lot of background information to his analysis from various different towns,
Yeah.
not just like one document. He's quoted for several different sources to come up with a conclusion. To have a 2.5 stories is for residential. Our current 35 feet fits 2.5 stories.
Oh, okay.
So to have commercial, it's anywhere from 12 to 14 feet on the first floor for all the mechanicals,
Yeah.
right? And then after that, it's reduced by residential section. So I think I was at 35 feet with 14, 10, 10. So that's 34 feet just to start with.
Yeah. The space about
And then a roofs of 34, another, for mechanicals, you want them in the roof line or
8
whatever.
feet, 42 feet.
42, so I was
Okay.
thinking something like that. Maybe we could have Steve as our guest speaker to kind of
That'd be good.
get hear from the expert.
Yeah.
Instead of us guessing,
Yeah.
looking at
I will
these,
invite him to our next meeting.
a particular discussion and guidance and what would be the most appropriate for 2 different locations for us. Okay. And anything else he wants to comment on, because he did all kinds of different things.
Right.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Dave?
No.
Commission members, anything else? You good? Am I forgetting anything? No? Good. Okay.
Need you to find your voice.
Yeah, maybe in 2 weeks, I'll have it back.
Allergies?
Granddaughter.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm talking like her. She's like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah." Anyway, with that being said, moving on to the last item on the agenda there. Mr. Ron, would you like to take us out?
Yes, I would. Just a reminder that Veterans Day is coming, and that I'm trying to push, take a veteran to lunch day.
There you go.
And the other thing I've heard today was that Nordford is not the capital of North Branford.
Oh,
That being said, I motion we adjourn.
all in favor?
Second.
Aye. Thank you. Thus concludes the meeting at whatever time it is, 8:02. Take you out to dinner?
Yeah, I'm available still.